Right, so rewiring a 73 Mustang, and honestly, it's a lot of work. Remove the dash. I had someone paint it. He struggled. He said the paint was just, and I'm sorry it's raining, you can hear the rain out. It just struggled to take the paint, but where you can see it, he spent extra time on it. It's just still looks wet. It's not drying fast enough, and I don't know why. So what you do is you wire this, you flip it over, you wire the harness, and what's cool with this kit is that the fuse box will go in the glove box. So when you open the glove box, there'll be all your fuses and your relays, and it'll be mounted to that piece of metal there, which has been bent. So this is a complete rewire. What's going to make my life easier is this is a Holly, so and I've already got a one wire. This kit, you got to go to a 3G. You can't use the stock wire. You're either wiring it as a 3G or a 1G. This is already a 1G, GM style one wire. So I'm good to go from that standpoint. You got to make a lot of your own connectors, so you got to do a lot of reading to do this kit. So I wouldn't call it amateur. I wouldn't call it the hardest. But, you know, the reason I'm rewiring this car is I just reached my limit with this thing. So you can tell this is the original wire. This car had been jerry-rigged. You know, people were trying to keep it together. Once I got it out, I realized what happened was whoever installed the stereo is destroyed the harness. They basically end up connecting multiple fuses together. Because these are only 14 amps, so their decision was to fuse multiple to get enough amperage for a new stereo. And what was happening, if there's anything a problem, it blows one of the fuses. Also, they bypassed one of the other fuses. There's a ground in the system, so one side of the fuse is on a ground and one side is on positive. So you put a fuse in there, it'll take a few minutes, but then it'll burst. So it's just been jerry-rigged so much that it's no longer usable. And it was weird, like sometimes the stereo works and then sometimes the backup lights don't work. So it was just a set of gremlins that never stopped. So now I'm gonna go ahead and put a complete new harness. You know, the only way to really do this successfully is to remove the dash. I hate to say it. If you don't remove the dash, you're gonna fight so many things, and you'll never get the wiring right. You'll end up, instead of having it nice and put together, you'll end up just throwing the wire harness in the back, and you'll see it'll just be ugly. Versus if you do it right, the wire's up inside the dash, out of mind, out of sight, and you're good to go. So I haven't cut out the front harness. I always start with the rear harness, and then I'll leave the plug up ready to go. You pretty much have to commit. If you're doing the front, you got to do all the front. If you're doing the rear, you can just do it to the point in the wall. And you can see how the wires are just go through the channel below the strip there. Paint job was so-so on this car. I didn't do it. But keep in mind, like, you're going to lose all the features, like the buzzer. The car, this wiring doesn't have half the options. Like, this is a harness for it retracts the seatbelt. We don't encourage people. They can if they want, but it keeps it from sticking like that. So when you open the door, it automatically releases this. So things like that you have to cut out. The buzzer, if you still have in the car, the light, there's a sensor on the seat that'll fasten your seatbelt. All that stuff doesn't work when you're done. You can still have the light in there, just there's nothing to connect to it. So I'm ripping all that out, and it's just going to be a basic setup. And when you build it, the harness itself, it's what's cool about the rear one, you can just simply cut it, take the new one up and just drag it through, which I'm going to do, and to the back, and then hang it over the back here and do all the wiring and stuff for the back lights. And that's what I'm going to do. The fun of old Mustangs, right?
Yeah.
They look pretty, but sooner or later you have to actually get dirty and clean up old insulation. That's probably asbestos.
I don't know. Google it.
I'm afraid to Google it. I just know it has to come out. Think about it. That's 50-year-old car. So that's 50 years of pop stains. You know, anything that goes behind the seats falls. It's archaeology there.
No, it's just garbage.
So we moved a lot of old insulation from the underneath the dash, and we'll put some rust inhibitor on it, get some Dynamat, and clean it up. I can't find anybody that has these side panels in white. I have to decide if I'm going to buy new ones or not. But for the most part, it looks 100% better, and it's really a clean car at the end of the day. Not a perfect car, but a good car. So what I did is I finished the wiring. I'm going from the back forward, so the rear lights, harness is in. This is the dash is wired and ready to go at this point. So it's a matter of putting the dash back, refeeding the wires through, and I'll wire the front of the car. So I moved from the back to the front. But you know, it's amazing, a little bit of work, and this thing's looking a heck of a lot better. So the project is finally done. This is the original wire harness for the car, and I rewired the car completely. This 1973 Mustang, but it's really designed to look like a 71. This car obviously is a convertible. This car was originally just a convertible base model. It wasn't a fancy car at all. 253. 3 speed, no power steering, no power brakes. So just a very baseline model. When I bought this car, the paint job was already on it. Don't know much about the car, but it's been completely overhauled. I mean, completely. Came with a good stout engine. So right now it's got a 302 and EFI. Everything's been upgraded to LED, everything. Turn signals, everything that which requires additional wiring you have to do for it. But the goal of this car was to get it reliable, and why I went after the wiring. The car just it was notorious. The backup lights would stop working, then stereo would stop working, then the interior lights would stop working. It just was a non-stop set of problems. So I was like, I'm done. I yanked all the wiring out and put a 71, 73 American Autowire wiring kit, which I absolutely, getting through it was a pain, but now I've done it. I would recommend it again. But what's cool is the fuse box is in the glove box. So if you ever have a problem with a blown fuse, you don't have to like get underneath the car to actually replace it. So really like that design. I've used painless. This car was rewired with painless. Still, they're both good, but the Autowire was kind of cool to me in the fact that it came ready to go for EFI, and so it was easy to wire in the Holly with it without any problems. The couple things I would recommend, if you're going to do it, replace everything. Like the starter solenoid, get all new parts. Go to a one-wire alternator while you're at it. It's a good time to convert. And then you have to pull the dash out. So I got all new trim, even though the other trim wasn't that bad. I put all new trim in. I put the car back to what it would have been, or what this car was intended to be, which was a Mach 1 302 from 71. So, but it's, you know, all new, like I said, I put all new LED bulbs in, so replace all your bulbs while you're at it. I also got new sensors. I replaced the circuit board on the back. I don't know what they call it. It's on the back of the gauge, so it made sure all the gauges work now. And so fun little car, worth the time. Got rid of all my problems. Everything works like it's supposed to. Not as easy as I thought it was going to be. I felt I could have got it done a weekend. It took 4 weekends to really get this thing done. And like you'll see there, I replaced the turn signal, the sensor for the brake lights, all new, the wiper solenoid, the headlights switch. Again, everything. There's nothing I didn't replace because I didn't want to tear into the car again and to have to replace those parts. It was corroded on the back of the environmental controls, the switch that controls the power. I put a new I can't remember what it's called for the environmental controls where it controls the fan speed. It's like a solenoid, I think. So again, everything's new. And if you're going to rewire a car, I totally recommend it. It's nice to know when you're done, just everything's working. You're not going to be having to go back and tear things apart to do it. So everything's new, everything's working, everything's good, and now I have a good, reliable car that I can rent out to people. This is a rental car for like weddings and stuff like that. Have a lot of patience. Don't guess. If you have to, go back through and understand what a wire is for. I also taped up any unused wires. I didn't add anything that really wasn't here in the original car. It's nice to be done. I got one of those stereos that looks like it in the process. It looks like an older one, but it's really a modern stereo. And then when you open the dash, you see I have the, if you want to hook up to your phone, in the glove box. But yeah. Hard to beat the sound of a 302. I just love the sound of these things. Absolutely love the 302 without caps. You know, average sounding muffler, just beautiful thing.
So if you like this video, go ahead and smash the like button below. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the bell if you want some notifications. See you next time on Chasing Mustangs.
Thanks.
All right.
Great job.
Yeah, I see it like literally every day.